here coming to you live from Atlantic Studios. So I'll do a quick back to drawing board, talk about comic books, and just kind of do some live drawing. Occasionally I like to jump on here and do a little live drawing. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please post them below. You can watch on YouTube at DylanDistraction.com, watch on Instagram. Instagram has the art I'm working on, YouTube has my face. Yeah, I don't really have a lot to promote. The Kickstarter wrapped up last month, which was awesome. Thank you so much to everybody that backed the Kickstarter campaign for Archive Universe. Those books are in, and I'm going to be sending out surveys so I can send everyone all of their awesome things, their rewards. So I'm thrilled to have those ready to go. And then Patreon is makecomicscool.com. So if you want to get a copy of The Oppressor's Raw edition, every month I'm going to be sending a new issue to people to go to makecomicscool.com. And tonight I'm going to do a little flip through and show you what the raw edition of issue 1 looks like. Ooh, issue 1, raw edition, The Oppressor, is available at makecomicscool.com. Thrilled with this sort of rough textured paper. I think it looks really cool. I think the covers came out awesome. So if you want to get a copy of this, go to makecomicscool.com, which you get issue 1 in June, which I've been sending out to patrons. 2 is July. 3 is August. That comes after July, right? September is issue 4. So all 4 issues in this raw pencil edition format, showing the raw pencils with the lettering. So I think these came out super dope. So definitely go to makecomicscool.com if you want to get a copy of this, and stay signed up at makecomicscool.com all summer and get a new copy all summer, a new issue all summer. So people gave me some suggestions for what to draw tonight on Taco Tuesday, and everyone wanted me to draw tacos. And I was like, what? I don't get it. So I don't know if I don't think I'm going to draw tacos. Taco Tuesday is just the day. If anybody knows me, they know that what I do is I come on Tuesdays often and then just talk about how hungry I am. It's a pretty silly way to do a live drawing. So yeah, I don't know. Tracy makes tacos on Tuesday, so I always tell her, like, I'm gonna do a live drawing. Oh, you know, start making tacos. So I'm gonna be doing a lot of people ask me about Procreate and the digital work I do, because I've been doing all of my work currently in Procreate. And so the thing is that I use brushes, and people are like, what kind of brush is that? What kind of brush is that? And I'm always hesitant to be like, essentially what I'm doing with my brush sets on Patreon. I'm going to draw while I'm talking. So that's a great question, Alan the Alien. Let me, I'm thrilled to be able to talk about it. And I want to figure out what I'm going to draw while I'm talking. So what should I draw? Give me suggestions about what I should draw. While you're giving me suggestions about what I should draw, I'll draw those things, and then we can talk about brush sets, Procreate, iPad. We'll get into it. We'll get into all of the stuff. So we got time. I'm going to be on for like an hour, I think. So I'll definitely talk about Procreate, talk about brush sets, and talk about all that. But right now I got to figure out what I'm going to draw. I have to focus on that. So I was thinking maybe Batman Beyond versus Clayface. I had a request for Clayface, so which I think would be fun. So I could do like a Clayface. Oh, and this is what I always do when I'm doing roughs. I'll just rough out on the back of the paper, and go to my Instagram if you want to watch my hands, and go to YouTube, DylanDistraction.com, if you want to see my beautiful, beautiful face. So I'm thinking like this maybe. The only problem drawing Clayface is I don't really know what he looks like. So it's always tough when you're trying to do one of these sort of quick live drawings, because I'm like, oh man, I have to research what the character looks like, and then we get into a whole thing. Batman Beyond. Maybe I'll just try Batman Beyond and like I'll hint at Clayface. Maybe it doesn't need to be as large and featured. Maybe I'll just be like getting smashed in the head or something. Deadpool is always fun. Love drawing Deadpool. Invincible would be great. I'd love to draw Invincible. So yeah, maybe Invincible. Maybe I'm just going through the comments here. Yeah, Invincible would be fun. But I think I'm gonna do Batman Beyond tonight. Maybe Invincible next time. So I'm thinking I'll do Batman Beyond, and he'll be like punching Clayface maybe. or he'll have like his hand up, maybe like that, maybe. I'll show like clay face down here with his clay going everywhere. Yeah, that's kind of fun. All right, let's not overthink it. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. So, because I kind of know how I do Batman Beyond. I don't really know what my clay face is going to look like, but Batman Beyond will be the main feature focus here. So often what I do is I just kind of block in where the characters are going. So he's kind of got maybe something like this. Maybe that head's too big. So something like this. Yeah, so Procreate. I use Procreate on an iPad. A lot of people ask, hey, what kind of tablet you got? What kind of program is that? Procreate on an iPad is great. Procreate has great sensitivity. I really like the feel of the program. I think it mimics penciling and inking pretty accurately to me. I really like, so I can show you the oppressors. So this book available at makecomicschool.com. If you really want to study how I do digital drawing, except for the covers, all of this is done digitally. So all these pencil drawings here, all this pencil work is all digital. But the brushes I use emulate my penciling pretty accurately. So those sort of line widths and varieties and the sort of density of when I block in blacks like that, right? I like the feel of the brushes I have for penciling and inking. So I'm going to be obviously inking all the oppressors issues digitally too, and those will all be available later. But go to makecomicschool.com right now if you want to grab a copy of issue 1 raw. So what I do is with my brush sets, people ask like, oh, what kind of brush is that? What kind of brush is that? I use a lot of different sort of cobbled together brushes, and I've purchased brushes before, and some of them I find have things about them I like and things about them I don't like, but I never usually stay on brushes for very long, right? So even the stuff I did for Archive Universe, which I could show you that, people that backed Archive Universe, the Kickstarter last month, ooh, you get a little sneak peek of this. I don't know, maybe I won't show too much. What can I show? I'll show that. So I've posted this before, so people have seen this. So these brushes I'm really enjoying and liking, but even these I've customized and adjusted and changed from Archive Universe to the stuff I'm inking now. So like this cover stuff, like this is all slightly different adjustments of different brushes I'm using. So I never really stick on anything for too long. And I think Alex Sinclair, the Sin Color, the incredible colorist, I've taken classes online, and he's spoken about his brush sets and his technique, and people ask him, and it's like, yeah, I never, the stuff I did on Blackest Night is different than the stuff I used on Superman. You know, he's like, people wonder if there's something magical about the brushes or is there something special about the brush. He's like, no, whatever brush works for now, and then move on to the next brush. You know, he doesn't ever hang on one for too long. And I think that there's, because you get stagnant, right? If you're inking or drawing 24, 28, 32 pages over a long amount of time, you have to kind of keep your brush sets similar for that project, right? Like I don't want anything to feel too different from issue 1 to issue 2, but you know, once you finish that thing, you probably want to kind of experiment and try new stuff for the next thing. So I will say there's a lot of great ones out there, but really the set that comes with Procreate, I think it comes with its own set. And often what I'm doing is I'm just customizing those ones that come with the set. So I think better to have me do instructional lessons than to just be like, here's a brush set right now. You know, I'd rather teach classes. I like teaching and talking about why or what my thinking is or my process. I like doing that more than just dropping, like if I gave you pencils, like what kind of pencil is that? It's like, well, it's this kind of pencil. Is this always the kind of pencil I use? No, it's just the pencil I happened to have next to me when I started. Do you have to have this pencil to draw like me? No, it isn't any better than any other pencil. And it might not be the pencil that works best for you. So better to do some sort of instructional lesson and learning than just to throw art supplies at people. I think there's a lot of great brushes available out there. and they're very reasonably priced. There's a lot of really good stuff, and I don't, endorse or promote or support any individual Procreate brush maker, but do a search, find a set you like, and then customize them. Right? Don't rely on one person's brushes and be like, oh, that's how I can draw like Dylan if I get this one brush. It's like, well, it's just the brush I use today. It's not necessarily going to be the brush I use tomorrow. So that's kind of my thing about brush sets. Procreate is an incredible tool. The brushes that come with it, I think it comes with brushes. I don't even know. I got it so long ago. But there's a lot of great brushes available out there that people can purchase. I would suggest doing that, finding something you like and customizing it. Customize it so it becomes your own. Even the brushes I use are just customized. So people are like, what kind of brush is that? I'm like, it's a custom brush. It's just, there's really no, I don't even remember where or what the original was. I think it was just probably the generic brush that came with the program. And then I adjust them and change them. So that's what I do. And that's why I like Procreate brushes. They are great. At some point in the future, will I just offer because I see people do it where they offer like Procreate brush sets. And it's like, oh, get my Procreate brush sets. And people like that. People like just to be able to buy them. And so maybe that's going to be something I do in the future. But currently, what does Clayface look like? I should probably look up what Clayface looks like. Batman animated series. Batman the animated series Clayface. Batman the animated series Clayface. He has a face and it's made of clay. Okay, he's got teeth and eyes. Gotcha. That's easy. So yeah, at some point in the future, if anybody does go to makecomicschool.com, that would be where I'd be providing lessons and classes. And if you sign up for lessons and classes with me, that would be how I think I'd be most comfortable sharing brushes and brush sets with people, because then I can kind of be like, let me show you how I got these. Let me show you how I made these. Let me show you how you can customize them yourself, and just kind of instruct and teach. I think that would be a better way to get that information than me just dropping brushes and being like, all right, good luck with it, personally. So go to makecomicschool.com, and I'm going to be offering instructional lessons through there. So sign up now, and you'll get the awesome comic books I make, and brush sets, and instruction, and all that cool stuff coming soon. So, any other questions about comic books, how I make brushes in Procreate? Thank you for liking my characters. Thank you so much. I'm going to just shout some people out here. Thank you so much, Pedro, for liking my characters. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I really love drawing my own characters. So that's always been my thing. Is I like Rob Liefeld, the creator, artist, comic book artist, and he created a lot of characters. That was always the thing where I go, oh yeah, I get it. Like you just make a bunch of characters, and there's that funny word jumble that goes around like, oh, choose your first name and your last name, and that's your Rob Liefeld character. It's like blood fist hand, blood fist. I'm like, yeah, that's dope. Like, what a fun way to create characters, just come up with a bunch of zany stuff and just have fun and make cool things. So I'm even doing that now. Like, I'm already starting to think of new characters and designing new characters. I'm always constantly trying to create new stuff, make new stuff. So if anybody likes my work, you're going to be getting more of it, because I'm just going to keep making new awesome things. So go to makecomicschool.com if you want to get a copy of my newest work. And your support enables me to continue to make comic books, and I'm incredibly appreciative of that. So, Batman Beyond, the suit is primarily black. Now, there's a couple different ways to do that. You could either knock out and have big black shapes. Yeah, I'll probably do that. I like that look. That's kind of a John Byrne thing. I think of it as a John Byrne thing. I don't know why, but try to kind of figure out the anatomy here. So there's like a muscle here, and there's a bunch of tendons here. And then I think Batman Beyond has spikes on his arms. If not, he's going to have spikes on his arms. Give him 2 spikes. I think he's got 2 spikes. And yeah, I haven't been watching the Invincible cartoon. It looks really good. I like the character Invincible. I like the comic books when I was reading them. I didn't read all of them. I've read a few of them. But yeah, it just fell between the cracks of awesome things I need to watch. I finished. Did anybody watch Jupiter's Legacy? No, nobody, anybody. I watched it. It was okay. I really like Mark Millar, and I loved Frank Quitely's version of the comic. And I felt as though the Netflix version really deviated pretty dramatically from that Mark Millar story. I was showing Tracy, I was like, look at this. Like, this is the comic book. Like, this all happened very quickly in the comic, and then the show, it took forever. I felt. So I think it was a pacing issue, you know. But what do I know? I'm not a TV show creator, so maybe they did it great, and I just don't know what I'm talking about. But it just seems rather slow. I think people should watch it. It's entertaining, but it definitely they cancel it, so there's no season 2. So it's kind of like a lot of buildup for one season. Kind of a bummer, but you know, something to watch anyway. All right, so clay face looks like this. Just got a face like this. It's made out of clay. And a lot of clay exploding up in the air. So yeah, any other questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. I thought it was okay. I hadn't read the comics though. Yeah, Jupiter's Legacy was okay. What's my favorite character from the Archive universe? That's not a good question. Jupiter's Legacy was okay. I thought it was entertaining. Kind of bummed that it's not going to get a second season just because they spent so much time building up character developing everybody, and it's like, man, in the comic books, this all happens pretty quickly, and then the show was like, ooh, still thinking about it, huh? Still working on it, but it was fine. My favorite Archive universe character draw. I love to draw all my characters. I love to draw Versus. He's fun. He's my so the way that my characters are organized. So the Oppressors Versus, that's my modern day vigilante story. Sist is my sword and sorcery ancient story, more swords and wizards and shit like that. And then Warhood is my sci-fi future story, and Ledge is my character that jumps between all of them. So the people that back the Archive Universe Kickstarter, you're going to get to see how all of these sort of stories connect, how all my worlds, how all the timeline connects. And I really love that sort of time jumping stuff. I think it's really fun, and it enables me to do a lot of really silly, zany action stuff. So I really liked that, working in that world. So I love drawing all my characters. I think they're all fun. About the cancellation, I don't agree with it, but I understand it. Yeah, I was disappointed that Jupiter's Legacy got canceled. I think it obviously deserved at least a second season. Like, please, all that buildup, all that money spent on all that production, like, let these characters have a second season. But I get it. Like, even towards the end of this season, I was like, oh, still thinking about this. Still haven't quite resolved any of the things yet, huh? So it just felt a little slow. Like in the comic books, I don't know if you've read the comic books, but they're on the island in the first issue. So spoiler alert, there's an island. And in the comic books, they get there really quick. So then, then they flash back to it occasionally, but they spend so much time in the flashbacks. Like when he goes out in the desert, and it's like, what is he doing in the desert? And he loses his mind. You're like, it's like, eesh, it's a lot. It was a lot. And then his brother, like, and George. So I liked in the comics how they got to it a little bit more briskly. But I love comic books, and I think comic books have that. The thing about the comic books is you can always add more pages, right? But with TV shows, you only have so much time. There's only so many minutes in a production. and there's only so many hours in a season, and so you have to kind of pace it to that. It's like, oh well, each episode has to be this long, and we have to have this many episodes, so it doesn't enable you to have the flexibility that a comic book can have, right? A comic book can have, as long as it's an even number of pages, you can, and even if it's digital, you can have any number of pages. There's nothing limiting time, right? You can have flashbacks, you can have flash forwards, the budget's unlimited. So I think with the comic books have a distinct advantage in that sense. It took me till episode 3 to realize they were all flashbacks. Yeah, right? So there's a lot of flashbacks in that show. And it's good. I mean, like you were saying, it's fine. It's entertaining. But it wasn't like world shattering. I hope they bring back Daredevil. I really liked that show on Netflix. I hope Disney takes all those actors and locks them up in new contracts and makes a new season of Daredevil. That would be awesome. I would love that because I really like that show, Daredevil, and that would be my wish. If I was an executive at Disney Plus, I would say, hey, what about that Daredevil show? Don't we own that? Can't we get all those actors? They're not doing nothing. Because Netflix had it right. But the problem with the Netflix versus the Disney Plus is Disney Plus won't show any violence, right? So that is another thing I think that Jupiter's Legacy benefited from and could have gone even more into, was just that they could be violent. Because if you look at Loki or WandaVision or Falcon, Winter Soldier, like, there's just no violence. It's just, not that I'm like, oh, I love violence, but some of those comics, especially Jupiter's Legacy, they need that, and Daredevil too. Like, Daredevil needs it to be violent. It's a violent story. Kingpin has to be scary, or it kind of loses its teeth, I think. So I'm gonna keep drawing this for a little bit. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna stay on. I'm enjoying chatting with people. So if you have any questions, want to know anything else, let me know. But this is the point in the drawing where I have to start making decisions. So this fist looks fine. Maybe this is a little big. It's funny. I've been drawing digitally so much. It feels odd to draw traditionally. I feel like it's like, oh man, I haven't drawn pencils on paper in a while. I've forgotten what it feels like. Losing my skills. That's another thing about drawing digitally, is it enables you to work quickly. Enables me to work quickly, but it's also, I can make things bigger or smaller. That's one of the things I think I miss most when I'm working traditionally, is the ability to just adjust the dimensions of things, right? Like, it's always this size. Even if I get closer, maybe it gets a little, if I get further away, it gets a little smaller. But when you're drawing traditionally, this is the size of the drawing. I can't like draw a little small detaily stuff. It's like, no, this is what it is. Okay. So yeah, who's been to makecomicschool.com? Did you enjoy all of the things you saw there? Did you see all of the awesomeness that is my Patreon at makecomicschool.com? Definitely go check it out. And if you have any questions about makecomicschool.com, my Patreon, let me know. I'd love to answer questions. The raw editions of The Oppressors are available now. I send stuff to people every month. Everyone that signs up gets something sent to them. So sign up. And I do double tap the paper when I'm drawing traditionally. I do that, and I zoom, like, come on, zoom in. Oh, I can't zoom in. Yeah, I do. I double tap the paper, which is ridiculous, to try to undo. Because then on Procreate, like, if you tap, that's how you undo something, and undo a line. So yeah, I'm guilty of that often. I've done that a few times. That's pretty, I think that's strange in our brains, it's like when you feel your phone vibrating, but it's not really there. It's that sort of weird digital has caused us to have these sort of weird reflexes that aren't naturally occurring. But it's like, yeah, doesn't everybody double tap everything now because they think it's going to undo? Yeah, definitely do that. So I think I explained everything. What else do you want to know? Yeah, thank you all so much to everyone that went on the Kickstarter last month at archiveuniverse.com. If you want to go check out the campaign, it's still up. You can still see it. You can't back anymore. But archiveuniverse.com was super fun. I'm thrilled to have the books ready to go. I think that's one of the fun things about the way I do Kickstarters is the stuff's done. Like, I don't like having people have to wait for their rewards. If you did go to archiveuniverse.com last month and you did back the campaign, you'll be getting surveys, and the surveys are just kind of like, what's your address? Where do you want your stuff sent? What else do I need to remember that you told me and I forgot? Well, let me know. So that's all that is. So surveys will be going out maybe this week. I've already set them up, so they might be going out this week. So keep an eye on your inbox. You'll be receiving your surveys, and then you just fill out your survey and say, this is my address. And I say, cool. And I mail you a bunch of cool stuff. You'll love it. I think you will love it. I think everybody will love the work I'm doing. I think it's my best work yet. I think it's a lot of fun. And the story's just kind of fun and over the top. And I think when people see it, they're going to be like, whoa, this is next level. Be like, yeah, I know. So this is the point where I'd either go through and tighten it up even more. Yeah, let's give it another pass with pencils. I want to. So yeah, what's everybody having for dinner tonight? What's everybody having on Taco Tuesday? I'm having taco ring. Taco ring is a thing that we have. It is turkey burger. I don't eat red meat and I don't eat dairy. So we eat turkey burger and put it in like a crescent. Like she lays out like crescent rolls and like rolls it into a big ring. It's great. It's one of my favorite things. So we're gonna have that for dinner, and it's gonna be delish. Super delicious. And I've explained this to people before too. So I have these clutch pencils, right? And some of them have HB, and some of them have 2B graphite in them. So this is like a denser lead that I did the first pass, and then you see here if I go in with this darker lead, this will enable me to kind of more accurately put in the lines I'm trying to get to. So that's how I draw. How do you draw? Do a lot of people do this sort of technique? I don't know. Is this something other people do? I think I learned this. I don't know where I learned it, but I know Greg Capullo does something like this, where he'll do some of his underdrawing in a certain density graphite, and then I'll go over with a thicker, heavier, more blacker graphite. So it's a good way to kind of help yourself to delineate. It's essentially like doing layers in Procreate, right? So there's layer 1 is this, layer 2 is this. So I like it. Sometimes I don't do the fill. I just do the holding line, and then you can do the fill with the lighter one. Be like, that's where just so you don't have a lot of thick, heavy, smeary graphite everywhere. That's my little trick. Learn all the tricks of the trade. Yeah, so then I'm doing holding lines. Actually, what I'm doing now is like inking with this pencil, right? Figuring out where that's going to be, So if you look at the oppressors, the raw edition, you can say do that all, right? Same thing I'm doing there. Just same thing. Traditional digital. But I want my traditional work to emulate my digital work and vice versa. I don't like when it looks like two totally different techniques. I want it to kind of feel sort of seamless. So I probably do something like this, and like this, do something like that, this and that. And yeah, I appreciate everybody's suggestions for characters. I want to keep doing these Taco Tuesday drawings, and I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure exactly what characters I'm going to do, but keep throwing out characters. Keep making suggestions. I love getting feedback. I love seeing what to draw. I think it's really fun, to have people be like, oh, like someone said the other day, like Sleepwalker and Hawk, those sort of classic 90s um, characters, classic 90s Marvel characters. I'm like, oh man, Sleepwalker and Darkhawk, those would be fun. So I was thinking I'd do those tonight, but I'm like, I don't really know what those characters would look like. And so I knew I'd have to do some research to figure out their look. So I was like, let's save that. Those are great suggestions, but let me spend some time kind of looking at how those guys look, and then I can really give those characters their full attention. But I think this would be really fun. I like classic 80s and 90s obscure characters. You know what I really love? Keith Giffen stuff. I really love Keith Giffen's Lobo, and where's some of the Ambush Bug? Remember Keith Giffen's Ambush Bug? Love that stuff. Keith Giffen did a Justice League 3000 series with Howard Porter. It's one of my favorite things ever. It's such an obscure, random. I don't think it's very well known. I don't think a lot of people are like, oh man, I love Keith Giffen's Justice League 3000. But definitely check out Keith Giffen's Justice League 3000. It's real good. You should give us ideas on what to draw. What would you like to draw? Okay. Draw my characters. Post them and tag me. Draw Versus, draw Warhood, draw Ledge. Yeah, go for it. Fan art my characters. I'd love to see it. And if you want to know what my characters look like, go to makecomicschool.com. And you can see there what my characters will look like if you want to see them. That is a good place to check them out. I was going to do some anime characters or manga characters, but I don't know. There aren't really that many. Maybe it's just my ignorance, but I'm like Tetsuo from Akira, right? When he's all whacked out looking, he'd be fun to draw. Maybe Berserk. I don't really know much about that character, but it might be kind of fun to draw. But all the other like Dragon Ball Z characters, they look so distinctly cartoony that trying to draw them in my style, I've done it before where people have been like, oh, can you draw Naroku? And I'm like, ugh. And it's always a real challenge because it just doesn't, I have a tough time translating that cartoony style. It's like Calvin and Hobbes, right? I love Calvin and Hobbes. And if someone's like, hey, can you draw Calvin and Hobbes? I'd be like, why? I've talked about this before in live streams. Calvin and Hobbes looks like Watterson draws them, right? They look like the characters because of how Watterson drew them. If anyone else tried to draw them, it just wouldn't look like them. There's been hundreds and hundreds of Batman artists, so you can pretty easily create your own version of the character because there's no one distinct model sheet. If I tried to draw my version of Mickey Mouse, it would look odd because there's only one version of Mickey Mouse. You can't draw multiple versions, so there's no other artists to do them. That's the state of that character sheet. Batman Beyond kind of falls into that a little bit too, but there've been some really great artists that have worked on Batman Beyond. Paul Pelletier just did some Batman Beyond stuff, which is phenomenal. And Norm Brayfogle did some Batman Beyond stuff. Bernard Chang did some Batman Beyond stuff. Just crazy good. If you haven't checked out Batman Beyond, you should, because it's not just a cartoon. The character in the comic books is phenomenal. So definitely a fun character to draw. So that's what this is looking like. Batman Beyond. I'll show that there. Punching Clayface. It's Going well. So far, this drawing is going fine. I'm sure there'll be challenges at some point, but so far, smooth sailing. And this is where I start noodling stuff. Like, yeah, I'll have this and that. I don't really know what Batman Beyond symbol looks like. Batman Beyond symbol. Oh, yeah, okay. I think it's like that, and like that. So that'll be the symbol. And then that'll be dark. So yeah, I think if you want to draw characters, draw my characters. Go to makecomicscool.com. Check out what those characters look like. Jump in for $1 and you can get a bunch of cool things. I send people stuff at every level, preferably the higher levels so I can pay for the shipping. But I've been known to send people something at the dollar level. I wouldn't put it past me. I've done it before. So go to makecomicscool.com, sign up for any reward level, and sit back and relax and enjoy the ride because I got a bunch of cool stuff planned for the summer. Got a bunch of cool stuff planned for the rest of this year. So makecomicscool.com is where you're going to be able to get my newest comic books. You're going to be able to get the Oppressors Raw edition. You're going to be able to get just cool things galore. So, and I appreciate everyone supporting my work and everyone that went to the Kickstarter campaign last month and everyone that goes to makecomicscool.com this month. Thrilled to have a lot of awesome friends and readers that like my work and want to support it. And yeah, really super appreciative. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll just keep drawing Batman Beyond. He's a Batman. Jason Batman. And yeah, I think that's all you need to know from me. I don't have anything else to tell you. If you have any questions, let me know. Yeah, it's beautiful weather here in sunny southern Maine. It's starting to get dark now. It's Taco Tuesday. What's everyone having for dinner? What kind of tacos is everyone having? Tell me what kind of tacos you like. Let's talk about food. My mom's always like, what are we having for dinner? Like, we're literally eating dinner. What are we talking about the next dinner for? That's her shtick. She goes from food to food. So that's a forearm. And again, this is, superhero anatomy, like my version of what anatomy is for a character. So I'm not super strict about the muscles. I don't know anatomy that well, or I feel like I have enough of a comic book anatomy sort of grasp to be able to fudge things. But if someone was like, "What's that muscle called?" I'd be like, "I don't know." So I'm looking at my screen here to see how many teeth Clayface has. This is definitely a fun character to draw as the feature of the pinup, right? For sure, that might be something I do in the future. Have him be like the focal point. But I was thinking Batman Beyond kind of sells it, I ate tacos yesterday. Oh man, broken the rules. It's not Taco Monday, it's Taco Tuesday. So Taco Tuesday is the day I come on and draw live. So if you're like, what day does Dylan draw live? Probably Tuesday. Don't know why that is. I don't really plan it that way. No one knows when I'm gonna go live. I don't even know. But on a Tuesday, there's a pretty good chance because usually I'm sitting around and going, tacos, 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 and then it's like, oh, no, what I'll do, I'll jump on a live and talk about tacos. It's almost as good as watching and eating tacos, watching tacos. So yeah, this is just kind of me going in, and I'm looking over at the reference, be like, what does he look like? And really, I've done a pretty classic sort of. All you really need to know about Clayface is that he's here. It's like he's not the focus of the drawing. He's kind of a secondary peripheral character. And I didn't want him to be the big main feature. I don't even know if he has a tongue. I don't think he has a tongue. It's just filled with clay. Why would he have a tongue? He doesn't need anything. He's just made of clay. So I loved the Clayface character from the comic book, the Norm Brayfogle Batman series that had Clayface in it was one of my favorites. I carried those around in a lunchbox for years. Norm Brayfogle was definitely my Batman artist growing up. I loved his work. I still do. I loved when he did Prime. You remember Prime? Norm Brayfogle was in Prime. I loved his big swooping style, like Batman's cape, like that Norm Brayfogle Batman. Oh, Batman Beyond the Norm Brayfogle did so good. So unfortunately, gone too soon. I never got to meet him, which I wasn't at conventions when he was. So unfortunately, that's a guy I would have loved to have got an autograph or chatted with, just because I love his work so much. So if anybody's like, what art should I look into learning more about? I think Norm Brayfogle is right up there. Definitely a incredible talent and gone too soon. And he was working right up to the end. He was working on, I think he was working on Batman Beyond towards the end. Passed away in 2018. So incredible artist. I don't know what my favorite work he did, but definitely that Batman Clayface stuff is high on the list. Yeah. Oh, the Catman stuff, that was great. Oh, Anarchy stuff. I'm just now looking at Norm Brayfogle art. Oh, so good. The thing about Norm Brayfogle stuff too is he was able to had an urgency about it, right? Like if you look at his stuff, you're like, oh yeah, that stuff it clearly is moving quickly, right? He didn't seem like, and I don't really know, obviously I don't know him, but I didn't ever get to see his art or speak to him, but it feels like with Norm Brayfogle's art, there's a movement and an energy to it, which I think a lot of stuff now feels less active, less energetic. So I definitely am going for that with my stuff. Like even in these pencil lines here, you can see like, oh yeah, no, I'm trying to get stuff laid down quick. I want stuff to feel active and energetic. I don't want these lines to feel static or boring or digital. I want them to feel like there's a lot of movement and energy in them. So, and when I'm working digitally too, I still like try to create that. Even my digital stuff, I try to have that sort of energy to it. Hopefully, I do. I hope that people see it and go, "Oh yeah, definitely, I get it." That'd be my hope. And, because I don't want anybody to look at my work and go, it feels a little stiff. That's like death. Like, ugh, stiff. That's the opposite of what I'm trying to go for. I'm going for a Klaus Janson ink line, sharp and abrupt. That's the kind of ink lines I like. Let's look at a hand in a mirror and do what a hand looks like. I have a mirror at my desk, and if I'm trying to figure out like how do those knuckles look, I'll just put a hand up in the mirror and try to draw from it. So any other questions, comments, concerns, go to makecomicscool.com. If you're watching this replay, makecomicscool.com. That is where you can get copies of the Oppressors Raw Edition Issue 1, only available currently at makecomicscool.com. Currently only available this month. I do a bunch of exclusive comic books and prints and art and commissions for my patrons at makecomicscool.com. Definitely go there. Definitely check it out. Let me know if you've got any questions. Happy to answer any questions you have. And I'm going to be wrapping up here. And if you're watching me on Instagram, thank you so much. If you want to see my face, go to DylanDistraction.com, which is my YouTube channel. It's essentially just me talking. But I didn't know how to do a camera in camera. And I'm like, oh, I can multicast to Instagram and YouTube. And I don't know if anybody sees my stuff on Facebook, but if you do, hey. And if you don't, That's cool. Check it out on Instagram and YouTube and Twitch. I think I'm on Twitch. So it's a pretty okay looking fist. Kind of Jack Kirby big, but I like big fists. I like big fists. So I'd go like that, and then not the shadow. Something like that. Yeah, that's cool. I look comic booky. That's how I decide. Like, does it look comic booky? Yes. Then it's successful. Feel like a comic book? Yes. Then I've nailed it. So yeah, that's what that looks like. So any other questions, comments, concerns, please post them below. I would love to chat with you. I'm going to be wrapping up here in a few moments. So go to makecomicscool.com. That's where you can get copies of all my newest work, support my work, support independent artists, support creators. Who's the artist who influenced you the most? Just speaking about Norm Brayfogle, I love Norm Brayfogle's art. I wouldn't say influenced me the most, but definitely at a time in my life when I was wanting to learn more about comic book art, Brayfogle was one of those guys that was just incredible talent. So influenced me the most. So when I was a young man, Image Comics started. And Image Comics was Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, Jim Valentino, Wolf Portacio, and Eric Larson. That was the seven. And I remember loving all those artists and just being hugely influenced not only by them, but the fact that they created their own characters and started their own company. That always seemed incredibly cool to me and powerful. And the fact that they were known, they were well known. Like the first artists I ever knew what they looked like were those guys, right? So I would say each of those artists brought something that I was incredibly appreciative of, right? And incredibly respectful of, just the fact that they did that at a time when no one did that, or no one did to that level. But I think probably Eric Larson's stuff at that time, his Spider-Man stuff, I was really fascinated by, and I loved Savage Dragon. Just such a fun character, such a cool, such a cool world that Eric Larson built. So I think Eric Larson definitely is one of those guys that I just look at his stuff now and I'm just like, oh man, if I could have an ounce of his career or tenacity or ability, right? Just the fact that he's just doing it every day. I think that's so inspiring for me. So as far as a guy who influenced me, Eric Larson is one of those guys that I'm like, yep, just start drawing comics, never stop. So his art style too is one of those where I'm like, yeah, I get it. I want to do that. I think it looks awesome. He has that energy and enthusiasm about his lines, his characters, the power, and he's bringing from a lot of Kirby stuff. That was stuff that he's influenced by. So Eric Larson's up there on my Mount Rushmore of comic book artists that have influenced me, for sure. Some other people that have influenced me, Frank Miller. So seeing Dark Knight Returns, seeing Sin City, seeing 300 to a lesser extent, Dark Knight 2, seeing Frank Miller's Daredevil. Like I saw that stuff and I'm like, oh, wow. Just incredible stories, incredible creator that just did it all, right? Wrote, drew, inked, just like Eric Larson. Like, do it all. Why would you hire somebody else, or why would you work with other people? You just do it all yourself. So Frank Miller's stuff too, obviously incredibly influential. Just looking around the room, I love Mark Silvestri's stuff. He really came. His stuff came. It looked like it came easily, right? You see Mark Silvestri's Wolverine or X-Men, you're like, oh, this guy just draws naturally, easily. So definitely Mark Silvestri's work is hugely influential. There's a lot of current and modern artists I love, but I think for people that really started me down the road of wanting to create my own stuff and create characters, say Frank Miller, Eric Larson, Mark Silvestri, and of course Todd McFarlane is, he just being an entrepreneur is something. I think if Todd McFarlane, if that's all he was known for, is being an entrepreneur, that's an incredibly influential person in business and in comic books. And he also draws real good too. So, but as far as his style and his technique and his how he creates, I don't know if I really take much or borrow much or use him much as a guidepost. Like some people, they're like, oh yeah, Todd McFarlane's not just the greatest businessman in comic books, but also the greatest illustrator, and they would want to, take that sort of noodly sort of energy. But I don't really have that. I mean, you can see here, if anything, my stuff has definitely got some of that Eric Larson, big fist, action pose, big characters. And then some of that Frank Miller, like this sort of dark to light. This is stuff that Miller did in Daredevil. Like if you look at old Daredevil stuff, it's that black, reddish black look. I love that sort of like, it's not just a bright red on black. It's the red has black in it. So those are things I definitely borrow from a lot of those guys. Or not borrow, but are inspired by. Another question: what's a double tap on your Apple Pencil set to? Set to erase. So if I double tap on the Apple Pencil, it erases. But what I use the erase button is the hollow button in between the sliders on the left. So the hollow button, that circly button on the left side by the sliders, is where I set that to be the eraser. So I can switch back and forth easily between pencil and eraser. Because as you can tell, I use a lot of eraser in my pencil. All right, I think I'm good with this drawing. I think I know where I'm going, right? I think I got enough blocked in here. We can see Batman. He's beyond, so beyond. Got a fist, he's got Batman, he's got spikes on his arm. And then Clayface is down here. You can kind of see him down the bottom. And then I'm going to have a bunch of clay like exploding up here. And I kind of did this as if it could be a cover, because then you would put the logo here. So that's another important thing to consider when drawing, is like, where does the logo go, or where does the text go? So I would probably put, and then this will all just be like gooey clay flying up in the air. This would be kind of fun to draw, just a bunch of clay. And then it'll be black behind them, but I'll have some of the clay coming in front of them, maybe in front of his head, maybe not. And then I guess I could have more clay coming in front of me. I could have clay kind of like this way, maybe. That'd be kind of cool. Kind of wrapping in front of them. To create some depth, right? Depth in comic books. It's an illusion because it's all flat surface. Kind of neat. So then the clay face would be down here. It's like, wow, I'll get you, Batman. Wow. So that's what that would look like. You're welcome. So if there aren't any other questions, go to makecomicscool.com and grab a copy of The Oppressors, Raw Edition, Issue 1. So I'll show you again, everybody. The Oppressors, Raw Edition, Issue 1. These are available this month at makecomicscool.com. Grab a copy. It's all the raw pencils of The Oppressors, Issue 1. All of it done by me, written, drawn, pre-pressed, lettered, everything. Me. So this is about Versus and Spine and how they are trapped in this prison called the Crate by a character called Vulgarian. And they have to try to fight their way out of the prison, right? So yeah, definitely go to makecomicscool.com, grab a copy of The Oppressors. Every month this summer, you're going to be getting a new issue. So June is issue 1, July is issue 2, August issue 3, September is issue 4. So don't miss out. Don't miss your chance to grab issue 1 right now at makecomicscool.com. Sign up for $1 and you get a bunch of cool digital stuff. Sign up for a higher level and you can get the physical copies mailed to you. Thrilled with how these came out. I think they're awesome. Super psyched to have them ready to go. So definitely go to makecomicscool.com and grab a copy today. Yeah, and then just sit back and relax, and I'll just keep mailing you comic books every month. So sign up now, makecomicscool.com. Thank you so much for liking my work, Birdman, Calgraphic. Yeah, I do everything by myself. I do all of it. I draw, I write, create, ink, letter, pencil, everything. Who does my printing? It's all published through me, Batlantic Studios. Go to batlanticstore.com, batlanticstudios.com. That's my imprint. But the printing is done through Comic Impressions. So if you check out Comic Impressions, they do all my printing. So say hi to them. Say hi to Rich at Comic Impressions. They do a great job. Customer service is phenomenal. Their prices are great. They do print on demand. They do digital. They do offset. They do it all. But if you want to support my work, go to makecomicscool.com, sign up, and grab a copy. And if you want to, I'll put it right here. It's Make Comics Cool. Makecomicscool.com. And the link is in my bio. So you can definitely go to my Instagram bio and get that information. Yeah, and check it out. I got a lot of great stuff up there. I have a lot of awesome patrons that support my work, and you could be one of those awesome patrons that supports my work at makecomicscool.com. So I think that is it for tonight. We'll probably be back on next Taco Tuesday to talk more about comic books and drawing and self-publishing and independent comic books and artwork and storytelling and all that good stuff. So go to makecomicscool.com. Have a wonderful, peaceful, awesome day, evening, week, and thanks so much, John. Glad you could join us. Hope you enjoyed watching this. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And awesome. All right, cool. Go to makecomicscool.com. Okay, bye.